Let's Frickin back catalog, where it's a video series drilling my experience of playing all my back catalog games. We're at the very end of Blue Fire. Hopefully we get the last boss on this fight. We'll see. I kind of didn't do super hot. The first couple phases. Holy shit, we got it. Did it like trash, but we did it. Word. Yeah, I love the art in this game, the feelings it would evoke at times. I felt like I'm kind of bummed there was more combat and like development there. Like, you get one spell, and I thought that would evolve into, like, different kinds of spells that you kind of alternate through for different effects, or you get, like, an upgrade spell. But enemies just really weren't a part of it. This is really more of just, like, really focused on platforming. The final boss was actually the best boss, just because it was actually interesting and engaging and had different mechanics. The rest of the bosses just were kind of really just not that interesting. The first two were more like mini bosses that went so quick. Like, it was kind of a bummer because I was like excited of like, oh cool, finally get to do a boss, you know. And You know, like with platforming games, I feel like just like basic stuff like they do in like Crash Bandicoot, where it's just like simple little uh like little platform things that you have to execute, you know? And you know, you hit the boss 3 times, you know, it's like I don't know, 'cause for sure. Oh, and then like the ice boss actually did have its own like little mechanics that you gotta learn. Um, and that took me 2 tries. I think I have a biased opinion of this game because I did spend. There was one platforming bonus level where I spent an hour trying to do it. And I think I should have been there with like the double jump and then maybe the spin attack. But I just had to go over these walls and I couldn't consistently do it. Like I'd get over 3 out of 4 of them. And there was 2 walls in particular that it was real finicky with like how it would register my wall jump. And then like I kind of figured out there's certain spots of the wall that like, you know, I don't know if it was like intended as like, hey, like avoid this like rubble area, hit this part that isn't like that, you know, which makes sense. But then like I swear there's times where like I'd hit more of a rubble area and would actually register it, and then there's times where I'd hit the exact same spot. So like that was frustrating. So I was like, all right, fuck that. I'm gonna keep progressing with the game. You know, I'm just gonna give up on that. And then, this is on me. I got to that ice tower, and I was like, all right, like, maybe this is just tough platforming game. And I threw an hour at that. Finally, like climbing all the way to the top, and then it turns out I wasn't supposed to be there because I couldn't do anything. And then I was like, all right, I'm doing something wrong. So I went and found out that, yeah, you have to go backtrack and grab the spin attack so you can get to this temple where you can get the double jump. And then once I got that, everything was like smooth sailing. And then it felt good. Whoa. There's a whole DLC. I'm okay. So once I got like those abilities that help with platforming, the game is a lot more enjoyable just because like the platforming, like I think maybe giving like having more tools to platform with definitely makes platforming more enjoyable. The temples are super quick, like yeah, what held me up is just like a little bit of platforming, but again, once so yeah, I feel like the temples could have been more involved. I gotta. I kind of knew the towns are cool, and I think I would have been down to spend more time there if there had been more reasons to, I guess, explore the areas around them, or like kind of use it as like a hub of some sort. I guess in like more of an RPG setting. They were just kind of like little, not even gas stations. I really just hit them for the save points. And then, yeah, money was never really an issue. It came pretty quickly. I just always had the double money on, so I was able to buy everything. And then at a certain point, I was just like, I don't need this fucking money. And there's not like the only perks I wanted was like the help with the platforming, you know. So it's kind of like definitely just needed those. I think with like I was really okay with how easy the bosses were after just like the frustration I had with those 2 hours of just like hitting my head against the wall. I still think it's really beautiful. And then I think it was kind of weird how it went from, so like it starts off the game kind of being like, oh shit, like these different temples of these different deities have been corrupted. You need to go through to them and kind of fix them up. So you're like, okay, so there's gonna be like 5 different temples, and like just kind of give like a general direction to it. And then you get done with the second temple, it's like, all right, fuck that. There's these 3 shadows you gotta beat, you know, and like, all right, that sounds good, because then you get to fight the queen, and then when you go to right after that, like immediately after that, it's like, all right, now there's these 4 flames you gotta light. I'm like, all right, you know, and then, it, that was pretty easy. I don't know. I think it was really cool with the art and stuff, and that I would have just liked to see, I think, like, more of it, and, like, I think you could have had the areas with, like, more enemies and almost like more little checkpoints, and like the towns kind of be a part of that or something like that. And even like have the side quest not just be like, oh, you go explore and like, or like, I think the quests were just like, oh, you kind of find collectibles, you know, which again, it just feels like it's supposed to be a platforming game. But I think, I mean, they have the combat there, it feels good. You could have had like really cool, like, oh, can you help me do this? And have like a little, like, quirky little mechanic, you know, like the boiler room. You kind of like stumbled into somebody's problem and helped with that quest, but it was just, you know, platforming, and then you go press the circle, which again is fine. Like I would love more of that. That kind of helps push you and motivate you for your exploration of things. I think if I was gonna recommend this game to somebody, I would just like let them know. I was like, hey, don't do what I did, because it made the experience less enjoyable. Of just like, this is where that spin jump is, and this is how you get into the temple to get the double jump, and then from there, it's like you can just kind of get through the game, no problem, you know. Yeah, just to save some frustration. Yeah. And just, yeah, more sword enemies. I was like, or more enemies I get to dash around on the ground to fight. Kind of takes the fun out of combat when, like, the floating enemies. It's either sit there, spam a magic attack, or try to do the jump, dash in, hit, and then dash back to safety. Because there's even some enemies where you can't dash in and keep hitting them. You have to dash and hit, and then they move enough that you can't kind of keep hitting, so you have to do one hit, dash back, dash in. And it's just not that wasn't, that was more like annoying, or it just wasn't like fun in combat. The sword guys actually were like, okay, cool, I can kind of dash around, dash out of their attacks. And that would have been rad to see more of like just like typical enemies, like you can even like kind of how freaking Final Fantasy does it. It's just like they have a sword attack that's gonna hit in 3 spots, and it like lights up the ground, so you just gotta dodge in between these things. So it makes it like, it just take that quick moving platforming, and yeah, just keep like having enemies do that. But you know, with all of this is a huge nugget of, I think it's a beautiful game, and all the mechanics are there. And also, I'm not somebody who has made. I mean, I've made like shitty games that were fun because I made them for me, you know. And they're like super shitty little pixel things that were never more than jump and shoot, you know. So like, I have no place to talk. I think it'd be cool to make a game, but you know, these people put in the work, and yeah, that may be just a freaking map for the dude, you know. I probably didn't look for a map, but just trying to find that little merchant that you were hoping to find. I don't need to run around for 30 minutes to do that. But I think overall, every time I sat down, I enjoyed it, except for those 2 like excruciating hours. You know. So I think I got burned by that, and it kind of influenced me. And then seeing how quick the game would be, I think doing this project, I'm noticing that I have kind of more of this like speed completion. Like I just want to beat this game just so I can move on to the next one and get that feeling of like I'm progressing. And I think it says something more about myself of like how I approach games and what I look to get out of games. Like I think I want that feeling of like I beat this thing. I took the time. I beat it. Yeah, and I guess the only other thing I'll say is like, yeah, going back to the Castle Keep, I did get that feeling of like, oh, I've been on a journey. I remember my humble beginnings when I first started in a room, this Castle Keep, and kind of went on that journey. And I always like that feeling with getting to the end of the game. It's like, oh, I remember when I was just figuring this place out, and there's like kind of like this sweet feeling of like short-term memory created. So. Yeah, so that's Blue Fire, and just got my last thoughts on it. I don't know what's up next. I'm trying to remember. It's one of the C games. I want to say it's going to be like Chris Tales or something, but yeah, good start on that. So thanks for watching. Take care.